Christy Lee, welcome.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Milestone Bellanova's wonderful boardroom and Business Insider. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, it's a pleasure. We should get straight down to it.
Okay.
Footprint recruiting. 6 years on, one or two children further.
Yes.
Is it where you thought it would be?
Yes and no is probably the answer to that. Yes, we're on the coast doing what we wanted to do, being one of the leading recruiters locally, working in the market with professional services recruitment. We've grown the team, we've grown the business, so in that sense, yes. We've developed a second business in that time as well, Footprint HR, which was always in the plans to have a number of businesses under our umbrella. So yes, but I think like any business owner, you'd also like to be bigger and better and have done more in the time that you've got. But yeah, in essence, it's in the direction.
You're okay.
We're fine.
Tell me what shocked you. What's not shocked you because you would have planned this carefully?
No.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yes.
What surprises were there or are there?
I think probably the biggest surprise is being on the Central Coast. It's a very different business community. I'd worked a lot in Sydney and I lived on the coast and loved living here and being part of the residential community, I guess. But the business community is actually a surprisingly nicer place to work than anywhere else. So businesses here have been really supportive and really lovely people to work with. But
equally too, you've always had a philosophy of supporting the community.
Yes. You're
about to do something with Pink Rose Day.
Absolutely, yeah. Pink Rose Day launches next week.
Has it changed to suit your cup? Anyway.
Not so much, but it worked in
launches next week.
It does, yeah. 15th of November each year we'll be running that. So, and that's all about raising money for Central Coast Kids in Need, which is a great charity.
I was just saying that people are nice when you are nice, and that was the point. You have done a couple of things like that, and
yeah, well, I think to be part of the business community locally, it's important to give back where you can to different things.
Do you have a percentage? Do you have?
No, we don't structure it like that. It's sort of an opportunity basis, so we look at different things, and if we think we can give back, there are some years we can do more or give more, and there are other years where we maybe have to rely on our manpower or our own involvement with mentoring people or students or whatever the case might be, rather than giving money as such. So we haven't got that sort of structured approach, but we just try and get involved in as much as we can.
Okay. Well, the surprise about the niceness of the case.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Look, that's probably been the biggest surprise, I guess, to us. But I think I'm the sort of person that doesn't get shocked by things too easily. I tend to take most things in my stride.
Which helps if you're opening your own business.
Yeah, it does. But there's not been a lot of surprises. It's I guess we just, each challenge that comes up, we deal with it and try and make the most out of it.
What's the biggest challenge you think you faced?
Probably the biggest challenge is the percentage of small to medium businesses locally in comparison to places like Sydney, where you've got a much higher percentage of larger organisations. So we've really had to adapt our models and create new services to cater for that market so that we could still service them without outpricing ourselves on our, I guess, premium recruitment service. So we've created a different range of services and products to fit that market.
And what separates Footprint from the others?
Well, look, we, of course, like everyone else, we think that we do a great job, and we really do have a consistent approach. So, I mean, everyone says that. So, for us, it's about being consistent to our brand. So we really have an engaged team who I'm really lucky to have, because they all share the vision and are really dedicated to delivering the same quality that I personally am.
So what's that vision?
It's about being the #1 recruiter, but above all else, it's about being ethical, honest, and having the highest possible quality. So for us, it's about, I say to my staff, if we ever have to replace a role, though we offer that service if we need to, that's not a great success for us. We never want to have to refill or replace a position if we can, because we want to make a placement that is long term. We'd love to know that the person's still there in 5 years and has progressed or is doing new things or still enjoying the role that we place them in.
Do you specialise in any specific areas? Or?
Professional services is our main area. So
what does that mean?
Anyone that sits behind a desk.
Oh, right.
It's probably the best way I can explain it.
Are there people like that anyway?
Yes, yeah, there are, surprisingly. Or, sitting on one of those balls or whatever they do these days. Standing at a call centre, whatever the case might be. So anything from a junior receptionist to the CEO and everything that falls in between. What we really don't do, I guess, is what differentiates us, which is industrial placements. Right. There are lots of fantastic agencies on the coast who specialise in that, and they're doing a great job, so we leave that to them. It's not our area.
12 months on, what do you want to do differently in the next 12 months? It'll be an interesting 12 months for us all.
Yeah, look, it will be. I mean, we've had a really there was a tough 12 months there, but we've come out of that really strong. We've managed to grow consistently through the economic downturn, I guess you might call it. I don't like to call it the GFC, but we have grown through that period, so I'm hoping the next 12 months will really see us in good stead. Our HR arm will probably grow the biggest in that period of time, but I hope that our recruitment arm can continue to grow, and that's certainly in the plans and the forecast.
Changes in strategy, do you think, or?
No, I think we'll stick to the strategy that we've got. We've really worked hard to create that, the culture that we've got and the reputation that we've got in the market, and I've worked really hard in the time that I've been in the market to work with clients and tell them about how we operate and prove that that's how we back it up with the service that we provide. So there's not a lot of change in our strategy.
Okay, and you have a money back guarantee, do you? Or?
Yeah, and it's like most agencies. Private agencies really, we're professionals at what we do. So like you expect your accountant to be able to do your year-end financials and do them correctly, you expect a recruiter to be able to find you the right people. So if they don't work out for whatever reason in 3 months, we replace them free of charge.
Okay, cool. That's the end of the
Yes.
Okay. Let's hear about the rant now. It was something you prepared earlier, as I understand it.
Well, I'm not big on preparing.
You did mention that. So what gets up your nose when you look at the...
Look, there are lots of things, and people
or...
that follow our page on Facebook know that from time to time I do get on my soapbox and have a little say about certain things. There's probably two big things that I like to get on the soapbox about. One is for employers, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, and I couldn't say it often enough. If you pay below market salaries, you cannot get the best candidate in the market. And unfortunately...
Is that more prevalent on the coast?
Absolutely,
than in
yeah. It's a market demand issue. There are more candidates looking in certain areas of the market here, so employers have been able to attract them at lower salaries. But that's getting much harder to do now. Candidates have realised that the commute to Sydney is, whilst exhausting and painful, it is an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and for some people the extra money they can get by doing that is well worth their time, particularly if they're providing for a family and those sorts of things.
Okay, so that was number one.
Number one. Number two is to candidates. Have all your contact details on your resume and have a voicemail on your phone. It seems like the simplest thing in the world, but we get hundreds of resumes a week, and there would be probably 20% of them that we can't get hold of because they don't have a voicemail. When you're in a competitive market, if the employer can't get hold of you, you don't get the job.
Can we just talk about that market? Is it, we saw numbers of 8.2% unemployment, supposedly, and
yes,
still to be verified.
Yep.
Do you see our unemployment levels that high factually, or do you...
Look, I guess there's polar ends of the market here on the coast. We've got a side of the market where there is lots of people desperately looking for work, particularly in the I guess, administration areas and probably the trades and services areas as well, the labour hire type of areas, or that not an area we're heavily involved in, but definitely in that administration end of the market. If we put an ad out, we'll get 200 applications overnight, and 90% of them are good quality candidates. But at the other end of the market, in professional areas like accountants, for example, we cannot find enough chartered accountants to service the coast.
We've got to import them.
Well, we'd prefer not to, but if we could find 8 of them that were willing to not travel to Sydney and work locally with the firms up here, we'd place them all tomorrow probably. So there's a real polar sort of separation between those ends of the market.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
If we go back to the beginning, you are or were part of a group that we would love to see come and set up businesses on the coast.
Yes.
Smart. I'm making that assumption. Professionals who are spending an hour and a half going to Sydney each day, and you said 6 years ago, that's enough. I want to set up here.
Yeah.
What went through? What were you thinking?
Well, I wasn't, clearly, but no, look, I think I stopped commuting about a year before I started the business, and I went and worked in a different field for a period of time. I commuted for 5 years and recruitment in Sydney is certainly not an easy job, and you work long hours, so leaving the house before 6 in the morning, getting home after 7 or 8 at night, which is a normal story for a lot of commuters. So I had enough and went and did occupational rehab for a while to use my psychology background, and about a year in I really missed recruitment and wanted to go back, but I could not go back to the commute. Worked somewhere else for a very short period of time before they restructured, and made a decision at that time, just after seeing that snapshot of the local market, that there was a real need locally for a professional services recruiter, because all the other recruiters were labour hire recruiters or branches of big companies and doing great stuff at what they do, but no one was really looking after that professional market locally. So the decision was literally an overnight decision. I left that job after the restructure, and within a week opened Footprint Recruitment.
There's a story. Don't overthink it, just do it.
Yeah, and I think if I didn't jump in, it may not have been what it was, because if you sit back and think about these things, all the risks and things that could go wrong come to mind, where you just jump in within the week, had the logo, had the branding, had the business cards on the way, had the office space leased at East Gosford, and we were off.
That's cool. All right. Christy Lee, thank you for your time today.
No problems, thank you.
Okay.